After death, all of us are merely reduced to being a thought cloud, a set of thoughts, desires, proclivities that we have accumulated through the process of a biological life. Depending on the content of this thought process, the further destination is determined. So, when Krishna says, Yam yam vyapi smaran bhav tyajyate kalevram tam tame vaiti kaunte sada tadbhav bhavita. Whatever thoughts come to you at the time of death, that is going to be your next destination in afterlife. And he further goes on to say in the verse 925, Yanti devrata devan pitrin yanti pritrivata bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhyajnopima. The worshippers of devas will go and be born, go to devlokas and be born among the devas. The worshippers of bhutas will be born among the bhutas or the ghosts and the pretas. Yanti devrata devan pitrin yanti. Pitri are the ancestors. So some people will go to the lands of ancestors if they worship them a lot and think about them constantly. And those who worship me come to me. So those are some of the examples he has given of where individual souls can go after death. So it's important to understand that our current existence is going to determine the kind of thought cloud that will become afterlife. You could be a black cloud that is full of water vapor that is almost dying to burst and throw the water down. This is the state of an individual overladen with addictions and patterned habits and compulsions that he has to act out on a daily basis. Oh, I have to drink coffee. I have to have a sip of wine. I have to smoke a cigarette. I have to play video games. I have to do day trading. All these patterned behaviors are going to persist in your afterlife and you will crave them in your afterlife. The only problem is you don't have a body to act out these cravings in afterlife. So how miserable you will be in your afterlife is dependent on the kind of thoughts you carry in your mind in your biological current life. Very important to reduce the content and magnitude of yearnings that you have in this life by either fulfilling whatever comes to you while you have a body and thereafter getting the benefit of desensitization or lest allured to that activity in afterlife, or in the first place to do vairagya or total contempt for that kind of activity that is tying you down. So either by doing the activity or by total negation of the activity with the faculties to a point where these cravings die. You have to know that there are three kinds of wishes. They are desires, intentions, and cravings. Desires, intentions, and cravings are what forms the thought cloud or after death samskaras that we are going to be. We are not going to be the body. We are not going to be any of the faculties. All of those faculties are in the form of Sukshma Sharir. So what we are basically these desires, intentions, and cravings. Desires are the wishes that impel you to do new activities and gain new experiences, breaking away from the Tattvamasi baseline, the baseline of Satchitanand or Paramatma, Brahma or Brahman, I should say, that you are. And that leads to incarnation. Those are desires to gain new experiences when you go in the world of Prakriti by becoming prana. Now, the second set is when you are already in the world of prana and you somehow realize that the world of prana is not meant for you, or you're already tired of acting out in the world of prana, doing certain activities, attaining the roles that you do of a father, brother, householder, collector, whatever activities you do, you are tired of these roles and the activities that you have to dispense, which of course come with certain restrictions, prohibitions, and the good and bad of them. Then you want to go back to the baseline that you came from, the status quo of Satchitanand, the state of contentment. So that is called intention. And the third stage is when you get these automatic calls. Just like when your bladder is full, your body is telling you to go pee. Every now and then, when you have been habituated to act out your act out your desires, when you're not acting out your desires at periodic set time frames, the desire itself comes to you and say, hey, why are you not acting me out yet? And that is called craving. Waking up in the morning, you crave for the coffee. Weekends, some drinkers will crave for the binge drinking. Chain smokers will crave for the puff of smoke if it's been like certain number of hours. So all these things are auto-activated in the senses that remind you to recruit the object of sensual gratification to get peace. Otherwise become extremely agitated, anxious, craving. So craving is the recall by the senses of the objects of sensual gratification that you have used in the first place to create new experiences as desires. So desires are the temptations and the cravings are the recoil bounce back you get when you periodically get habituated to using those temptations. Even though the enjoyment is not the same the second time as it was the first time when you did that experience. So that is the trap of the senses and cravings. That's why I have more compassion for people who have cravings than people who generate new desires, because people who develop cravings are just suffering for their past actions. It's like your karma bandhan. But desires is what causes the problem, creates this problem in the first place. So your samskaras should have less of desires so that there will be less recoilery cravings in that, and hence you don't have a body, so you don't have to no way to act out your experiences in the thought cloud. And then what is left is just pure intentions to have yunj or yog, union with God, union with your Satchitanand qualities, union with the drashta, which is the eternal witnesser, and not the bhoga, which is the enjoyer, transient enjoyer in this life. So my friends, all of us are going to be a thought cloud composed of desires, of new experiences, cravings for the desires that you have already experienced, which want you to re-enjoy, re-go and perform the activity, even if the sensual pleasure, dopamine released is less. An intention which is free of desires and cravings, but the soul having gone through multiple janms, bahunam jamte janman man prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma zadullam, knowing all the jam mrityu jara vyadhi, sufferings of the world, has decided that it does not want to come back and wants to break all the karma bandhan and return to its eternal abode of Brahman. So if we will clean our act right now through the process of abhyas and yoga, vairagya. So abhyas is practice and vairagya is contempt for the desires and activities that create more enslavement in the current activities that we do. So make sure that you do abhyasen tu kante vairagyancha grihate. That is the way Krishna says to break this cycle of pattern behavior or karma. And you can also think of it as the modalities of speech and the modalities of sight. So in the modalities of speech, you have to do japa and chanting. And in the modalities of sight, you have to do tapa and dhyana. The tapa and dhyana will help you visualize your God form when you close your eyes, when you are doing dhyana. The more you practice Abhyasen, the better clarity you get in the visualization of Shiva, Hanuman, Durga, Kali, whatever Ishta Devta you try to associate yourself with. You are imparted their qualities in your samskara cloud, so that not only in this life but afterlife you have a peaceful existence. And friends, I have told you, once you become desireless, you become peaceful. Once you have been peaceful for long periods, you become blissful. So this is the spectrum that you have to go through to gain perpetual peace. And that is why you have to constantly think about God, constantly speak about God, and constantly do things which are related to God. And Sharir Vak Mano Bhir Yat Kam Prarabte Nara. So the Sharir, Vak and Man, you have to, what activities you dispense to the body, what voice, words you create through the vocal cord, and what thoughts you generate in the mind will determine your thought cloud, will determine your future lives, will determine the amount of karma bandhan you have created that needs to be burned before you can be exiled into nirvana or moksha. Hope you like this video. Please feel free to leave your comments below. Jai Shri Ram.